good evening from England. I understand it's probably about lunchtime where you're on the Midwest, in the
Just
Midwest.
about 3 o'clock. So yeah,
Oh,
between
okay.
lunch and dinner. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Sunshine streaming through, which is
Yeah.
always lovely. Now, I understand you have, I've been reading your biography that you have two cats and two dogs and a cat called
Yes.
Austen, Ava, and Jude. Are they literary inspired?
So yes. So kind of entertainment and music inspired.
Mm.
So when I met my wife, Magnolia, we had before when I met her, we were dating, and when we got married, she had a little Jack Russell Red Terrier named Jane. So
Nice.
when we got married, we adopted Austen, so Jane Austen.
Right. I
Well,
did. I assumed it would be. Yeah.
yes. So unfortunately, Janie passed away. So we
Mm.
still have Austen.
Mm.
So then we to kind of fill that void of Janie or Jane,
Mm.
we adopted Ava, and Ava is kind of Ava Gardner, and then
Yep.
also on the way home we actually listened to the song Ava Max. So she
Okay.
is kind of a double, but yes, Ava Gardner
Mm.
and Ava Max are kind of her
Oh,
namesake, and
yeah.
then Jude of Hey Jude from the Beatles.
Okay. I wondered if I think this Thomas Hardy novel, Jude. I
Nope,
wondered whether
nope,
it was. Yeah. I hadn't got the Beatles connection.
yep, Hey Jude.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about your writing. So we'll start at the beginning. How did you get into? Have you always been writing? Can you remember the first thing you wrote?
So actually, so got into writing. Magnolia was actually she got me into writing. So she was working at a community college here in Illinois, and she quit her job and became a full time writer. So kind of seeing her the path that she took, kind of what she did. So I'm like, you know what, I could do this.
Mm.
Reading Dick Tracy, reading comics. So
Mm.
she kind of got me into writing, and Stone's Edge was actually my first book that I ever wrote, and
Mm.
then has kind of taken off from there. So I've got the sequel done, which came out in March, and then
Mm.
I'm currently working on a kind of a thriller, a demon MC book.
Oh, as in Marvel Comics.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely. Yes.
okay. Brilliantly inspired by your reading of comics.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And will that be a novel, or will you go the graphic novel route, or?
So I would actually like to. That's actually kind of on the horizon.
Mm.
So it's gonna be a novella or novel, depending on the length, and
Mhm.
then I will look into making, possibly making Forged in Hell, and then which is my Demon MC,
Mm.
and Stone's Edge, a possibly look into making a graphic novel or basically like a comic book to kind of bring in that love of comics into
Oh,
my writing.
okay. And I notice on Amazon that the Stone Chronicles is book one of two and two of two. Is that the end for it, or will there be more?
There will be more. There will be more. So yes. Stone's Edge is the one of one. Leaves off on a cliffhanger, and then uh, Blood from a Stone leaves off from two. So
Mm.
then, so kind of funny story. So I writing writing Blood from a Stone, working on it, and my mind, the characters tell me where they're going to go with where they're writing. So I pull up
Mm.
my laptop, trying to start writing on it. Like, you know what, brain's like, you know what, let's write a demon MC book. All right, well, we're going to go in this direction. So that's where kind of Forged in Hell, which I'm working on now, which my goal is
Mm.
to get out with it being monsters. My goal is to get it out by Halloween.
Okay. Good idea. Yes,
Yes.
good idea. And do you have a set routine of when you write? Do you find life sort of dictates when you're able to write in chunks, or?
Well, it's kind of a it's literally it's when the characters, they like, there's sometimes the characters will talk to me and like, okay, we're gonna work on this, and other times it's
Mm.
literally like an imaginary friend, is they'll talk to me sometimes, and other times it's like, no, we're not going to do anything. So,
Mhm.
but I also work a full time job, so writing is kind of my part time job, and sometimes the part time job kind of runs in with the full time job. And
Mm,
but when I try to write when I can. But like I said, my goal is to get the current book Forged in Hell out by Halloween.
mm. And what does your wife write? Give her a quick
Uh,
plug for her.
so Magnolia, she writes romance.
Okay.
She definitely has a lot more books out more than I do. She's got about
Hmm.
18
Okay.
books across four different pen names. But her
Wow.
main one is Magnolia Montgomery
Hmm.
on Amazon as well. And then she co-writes with another author, or with let's see, yeah, Ava Monroe is her co-write with Alana Winters. So
Okay.
Alana Winters and Magdalene Montgomery are Ava Monroe. That's their
Hmm.
co-writes.
And does she test her work on you? So she reads her romance to you for
Yeah,
feedback. Do you do
yes,
the same with her? With do you collaboration in that respect?
yes, we do. We do actually. She'll read kind of a paragraph to me, and then kind of like, how does this scene work? I said, yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
And then I'll read it to her. I'll read especially a lot of it. Like, I'll read it to her, and she goes, "Well, I think it would be really good if it went in this direction." So we kind of beta read for each other.
mm,
But yeah, but yes, yes.
it's a brilliant idea. And what do you find? How do you find the editing process? Because obviously she's helped you in a certain respect.
Mhm.
What happens next when you finish the book? You've got to the end, and do you leave it and go back to it, or go back to it straight away? And
Actually I will go over probably a scene or a chapter probably 18 dozen times.
okay,
And because I'll the fresh eyes just kind of putting it away and then going
yeah,
back and thinking to myself,
mm,
that doesn't sound very good at all. So I know I will reread and reread and reread until it's
mm,
basically I wish I could be one that would be a write it, done, and move on. But no,
mm,
I'm gonna go over it multiple times to make sure that it flows well. And I've got a couple other friends that beta read, and then I've also got a family friend that is a editor. So then
mm,
that way, give it to her, and okay, and then get it back, and then move on to the next stage of the writing
mm,
process.
mhm. And I love the covers you have for the Stone Chronicles. Um, is it you on the cover?
So funny story. You're not the first person to actually say that. I've had multiple
Mm,
people ask me, "Is that you?" It is not.
hmm.
Magnolia actually made those covers for me.
Okay.
And then, but the Forged in Hell one actually is the first one I've had commissioned. But my plan is actually in one of the epilogues. I'm actually going to have Jack mention. So Jack is the main character, main protagonist in my the Stone Chronicles, and I'm
Mm,
actually have him mention that. Like, you look like that Maverick Montgomery guy.
right.
So yes,
Good plan. Good plan. And I understand you are, we call it here in the UK, a petrol head, which you have in your biography as a gearhead. I'm assuming it's the
yes,
same thing. You love your
yes, it is.
cars and your,
I love my cars. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I try to incorporate the cars that I like that I grew up. So like Jack has a 1969 Boss Mustang 557 that
Hmm.
he inherited from his grandpa. And then Andy has a new Raptor Bronco. So yeah, so I do love my cars. I am a big petrol head, as you
Right.
mentioned, or absolutely a gearhead.
Mm,
Yes,
yeah,
I love my cars.
yeah. And are your books set around Illinois? So you're writing what you know in that respect.
Yes. So the Stone Chronicles are set in the fictional city of Wolf Haven, Illinois. And
Hmm.
then my current book I'm working on, Forged in Hell, the MC book, actually takes place in the actual city of Hell, Michigan.
Okay. And do you find it easier to invent places, or because you can do what you like, or if you're basing it, the latest book, on somewhere you know, it's easier because you know it, or a bit of
So a
both?
little bit of both. So I wanted to try my hand at it. So the fictional cities, I that way I like it because I can make stuff up. I can take um I can take built like I can take make up places.
Mm.
So in the book, Jack's so and there's actually a couple of Easter eggs. So the one Easter egg is Jack's house office is in an old abandoned firehouse, which is a nod to Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Uh, and
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
And then surrounded by his building is a two people that I work with that I find that I appreciate them being in my life
Mm.
is it is Pisano's dry cleaning where Jack gets his dry cleaning done, and then
Mhm.
Saul's grocery where he gets his favorite beer and pizza. So
See,
those are people that I work with.
yeah. See, I guess the good thing about making your own place up is that you can literally do whatever. Like, no one's going to write to you and say, "Well, actually, that road is a dead end," or you have
Yes.
to turn left on that road, or you know.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
as long as you have, because in my serial series, which is set in a newspaper office, that I based it on it was actually a chocolate factory. I worked in the offices above the factory, and
Okay.
so if I need an office, that's my go-to. So I know exactly where the director's suites are.
Right. No, no, and that's why I wanted to try my try to like actually put it in a place because it's I mean it's forged in hell. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try a real place,
Mm,
and then that way. But no, I actually kind of prefer actually making. Now I've done that, kind of actually making up a city, and
mm,
that way I can just basically kind of I get um I can kind of write what I want and how I want and how the town's going to look.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do you like when it comes to marketing? Because I was saying previously that, when I'm teaching and say to my students, actually, the writing is the easiest part. You
Mm,
think it's difficult, and then you finish the book's finished, and then it goes up on Amazon, and nobody knows it's there, or they might know it's there for a millisecond before the next book comes up,
yep. Yes.
and so it is.
I do a lot of social media marketing.
Mm,
I also believe word of mouth. Word of mouth is also a good marketing, but with social
mm,
media as big it is these days, getting it out there on the platforms
mm,
and getting it out there to kind of get your word out there. And
mm,
my plan for I would love if it being able to get it out there to have it get in the right hands to either make Stone's Edge or Forged in Hell a either a movie
mm.
or a video game because I feel like I have the plans like if it would get out there like hey this would be a great video game, this would be a great movie.
Because you are a gamer, aren't you? So you know the how it works, how the
Abs-
game starts and finishes, and I would
yep.
imagine very, very different
Yeah, because
to a video game.
I feel like a lot of like authors they want their books to become movies. I kind of want to go the just being
Mm,
like a maverick, like my name, kind of being that different. Like I want to see it as a book to go into a video game.
mm. And a graphic novel and
Yeah.
everything
Yes.
else. Hopefully,
Yeah.
everything
Yes.
else.
Let's
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you think when you finished this book? What's next for you? Have you looked
So
that far ahead?
right now, after Forged in Hell, I'm actually going to pick up on the Stone Chronicle series.
Hmm.
So Stone Chronicle series will be the next one in the book, and then I am planning a tribute book to my dad.
Nice.
Thank you. So it's actually going to the book is actually going to take place from the point of view of a dog, a German Shepherd named Spike.
And So I write
Yes.
dog detectives, and from a Jack Russell called Henry. And
Nice.
having owned a Jack Russell, I
Mm.
kind of know how they tick, and as you
Right.
will with Jane.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got two. I got inspirations. Magnolia and me both have. We actually have two lazy dogs right now.
Hmm.
That I'm looking at as we talk. But we have a golden retriever and a lab pit. So I definitely have some writing material. They
Experience.
would experience. Yes,
Absolutely. Yes.
absolutely.
We
Yes.
we saw the cat earlier on. We had a tail literally going from that end of the screen to
Yeah,
right.
I figured he's probably wandering in the background somewhere.
Mm. Well, usually they like keyboards, don't they, when you're trying to type? They do have this
Absolutely.
habit of liking keyboard. I had to shut the door. My dog is whimpering because my husband's gone to work. So my dog is whimpering behind the
Yeah.
door, and the cats will meow at some point, I'm sure.
Yes.
But yeah.
There'll be times that I'll use Magnolia's office and I'll be typing and Jude will just kind of sit into my arms like you're not helping.
Mm, mm. Are you a plotter, or I know you've got the idea of the next book. Sounds fairly fully formed already. Do you make notes and then you sort of work from A to the start to finish and then write, or do you just get to a certain point and think, right, okay, I'm going to crack on and write now?
So I am actually so I kind of a little bit of both. So
Mm,
I kind of build of how to build off of the last book.
mm,
But then I kind of let the characters talk to me,
mm,
and we're gonna go in this direction, or hey, this would be a really good scene here,
mm,
or even like in kind of my bio, I take inspirations from movies and video games and kind of
mm,
and things like that.
mm. Because they do, don't they? You kind of think, even if you plot, for me anyway, if I'm not really a plotter, but I'd like to have some idea of where it's going to go,
Hmm.
and then you think it is going to go in one direction. And were the Stone Chronicles pretty much, did they come out how you thought they probably would?
Yeah, I thought so because that's um because I kind of wanted when I before I even wrote um the Stone's Edge. Jack was just this because I had Jack's name already. Like Jack Stone was just kind of just this seasoned private investigator that he basically like I tell people that if you take Dick Tracy and the
Mhm.
Punisher and you put them together, you get Jack Stone.
Okay.
So just
I love
kind of go
I
ahead.
was just I was just going to say that it's a nice solid name. I have a dog who was born. He came with he's a rescue, and he came
Mm-hmm.
with a birth certificate. And his official name, he's got an underbite, so his bottom jaw sticks out.
Okay.
And his official name is Lester Dree. You're weird, and he's very weird. But somebody before me called him Gus, and I kind of like that. It's a nice
I did.
solid name.
Yep.
And you can never go wrong with Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
stone is it does what it says on the tin.
Yep. But yeah, he definitely he gets his answers any means necessary because he in one of the scenes of the book he interrogates a bartender and he basically he makes him soil himself because of
Right.
how Jack get his answers. So yeah.
Mm, hmm. I don't feel I want to end on that note. We'll have to go something else. So do you find your writing style, because obviously your wife is a writer as well, has she
Mhm.
given you tips on not just looking at your work, but how to because you said she got you into writing. Do you find that she gave you, or she was almost tutoring you as you went along, or she left you to it and
So she's definitely a mentor because she's got, like I said, she's got 18 books out. So
mm,
she's done it for a while. She's been doing it since
mm,
2022. So she's
okay.
been writing
Well,
for a while.
That's a lot of
Yes.
books in a very short amount of time.
Oh yes, yes. So she yeah, so she is definitely my biggest mentor when it comes to writing.
Mm,
Like I'll pitch an idea, or hey, I like this idea, and she goes, it'd be really cool is if Jack did this, or this happened to Jack. I'm like,
yep.
and then she kind of explained it, like, okay, yeah, I like that.
Mm,
So yeah, so she is definitely my biggest mentor when it comes
mm,
to when it comes to when it comes to writing.
mm. Do you think you might write? Could you see yourself writing romance?
Yes, yes. So and I don't know if you know the name, but one of so she got me into romance, into reading,
Mm,
and I actually got to meet this woman, and so K.A. Knight.
okay,
I
I
absolutely
don't.
love.
No.
So K.A. Knight writes. She writes romance. She writes mafia romance.
Hmm.
And she writes the book Den of Vipers. Den of
Okay.
Vipers is reverse harem romance, and she was actually at a Polycon in Washington D.C.
Mm.
And I've read the book probably 4 or 5 times, and I actually went as one of her characters, and she goes, "I've never had anybody dress as one of my characters."
Wow. Oh, here we
So
go.
yes, yeah,
Is
yeah.
is this Austen?
That is Janie, and then here is Austen. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
so yeah,
oh
so
yeah.
Magnolia's actually home. So
Ah,
she was out at a book convention. So yes,
okay. Oh, lovely. Oh, well, they can end the show for us.
yes, absolutely,
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with
absolutely,
you,
yes, yes. Thank you,
and
Morgan. It's been an
hope you're
absolute
very
pleasure.
welcome. You're very welcome, and hopefully your
Yes,
Magnolia's paths and I will cross at some point.
yes,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, there she is. Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll chat again about your
Yes,
books another
yes, ma'am.
time.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. All
Thank you
right.
so much. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.